You will be shocked, like you shocked to immobility.
Yes.
So I just took a walk in the evening, and I was on my way back home, and this guy touched me on my bum.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is JB and thank you so much for joining this discussion. This is the concluding part of the session we had last week. If you haven't seen it, please check this pop-up. It will take you directly to the video. Still here with me are my friends Ade, Olusamuel and Damilola Adeyemi. Another myth I heard was that you didn't fight enough, like the victim didn't fight enough. So at some point you thought what the person was doing to you wasn't wrong, and then when this stuff happens and you're alone or somebody is telling you that, did you shout well, or you didn't scream enough, or you didn't fight enough?
Let me share a personal story, and this is quite I don't know, emotional for me, and because I experienced it, it makes me have a little bit of an insight. You will be shocked, like you shocked to immobility.
Yes.
So I just took a walk in the evening, and I was on my way back home, and this guy touched me on my bum. It was premeditated.
Did you know the guy?
I didn't know. I was on the streets in the evening. I just took a walk at the time when coronavirus was at the peak.
Okay.
And I had slacks on with the hoodie covering my head. It was a little chilly.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure I wasn't exposed in any way, or inappropriately dressed or whatever. And the guy touched me with both hands on my bum. Immediately I looked back. I didn't know anybody in that area. I looked back and he did this and turned and started to run. On the street, I was shocked and rooted to the spot. I couldn't think. I think it took me a minute before I'm like, okay, who saw? Anybody around? Any cameras? Any cars pass? And I stood there. I saw him. He was running up there. It's like up the street. So at the point there was a bend, and then I stopped seeing him. I still couldn't leave. I was still there. I think about a minute after, I saw a car on the other street come on, like someone used the key card to open the car, and I saw the same guy run across. He entered the car and was driving down. His headlights of his car, by that time I had brought out my phone.
Okay.
To maybe capture his face or the plate number, anything. And he saw the headlight was shown on me, and he turned and drove in the opposite direction. And I stood there for another 5 minutes.
Wow.
And this happened to me about a month ago. So,
I'm really sorry to hear this.
So, a lot of the time,
you're shocked.
It's shock.
Yeah.
A lot of the time is
not knowing what to do.
Helplessness.
Yeah, exactly.
The helplessness of it it's like you lose feeling in all of your limbs, and then everything comes rushing back. I couldn't sleep. I think I only walked up that street with a friend after maybe like a month after. And up till today, it still kind of shakes me. Although I told myself I'm not going to let this be secrets that's going to now tie me down, that eat me up, and I'm choosing to take a strength out of it, and I'm going to speak about it. I've chosen to do that, to speak about that. This happens. Even here, it happens. So from that perspective, it's shock.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might not even be able to shout.
That's what I think as well. Because when I heard it, I was like, no. Like, if I pray nobody experiences it, But when you experience it, the only thing that comes to your mind is
this really happening?
This is happening.
You are in limbo.
You have an out of body
experience, and so you can. The fact that some people even have the strength to shout at that point is just, I don't know, it's just amazing, because the first thing that comes to your mind is, what the hell is happening? And then the last one, I just decided to talk about 3. The last one is that, oh my god, it is not rape if you've had sex with the person before.
Consent every time.
I mean, when I saw this, maybe because I am married, when I saw it, I literally laughed. I was like, excuse me? And I'm not saying it because I'm a woman, I'm saying it because a lot of husbands and a lot of wives, I would say husbands because those are the instances that I have heard. I haven't really heard of wives raping their husbands. A lot of wives are being raped on a daily basis. Because you have had sexual intercourse with this person does not give, or because you have told the person yes at some point, does not give the person eternal rights, to your body.
Eternal subscription.
Yeah, tell you the subscription to your body. So yeah, but guys, if you have been sexually involved with anybody at any point and you feel that, okay, this is not doing it for me, please say so. No is no. Okay, so I was thinking, what do we say about women or people? I say women often because most time when we hear of rape, women are usually the victim. But what do you say to people who falsely accuse other people of rape?
Jail time.
Like you have no mercy.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I understand that there's shades of grey.
Yeah.
But you lie, you go to jail. And I'm saying this in a very light manner, but it's actually very serious.
Yeah,
because
it is actually.
the lives of the person who was accused is put in jeopardy. You've destroyed their career, you've destroyed their integrity, their reputation, their livelihood, their family. It's the same. In fact, if a person gets depressed just from the blowback of this, it can happen. So if you accuse someone falsely of rape and it's found out that it was a lie, then there should be consequences for that. Heavy consequences, in fact. That's what I think.
Yes, and what I like to think of is I would have liked to say they should seek for proof, but sometimes you can't get the proof, and then you're just destroying somebody's lives for nothing.
Remember when we were talking about governmental structures that are put in place to help these things happen? I know in Nigeria where we come from, it's a lot more difficult, especially when it happens. Like immediately it happens. That's the point where you need to outcry and you need to get in touch with, go to the hospital, do a police report. But all of this, especially the police, we have to say this, they do not help. You would find situations where even a police woman would be telling the victim to, just keep quiet.
Yeah,
don't let them.
What were you doing there at that time? Just like we talked about earlier.
Don't let them. Don't let your family. It's frustrating. And then who's going to pay for a rape kit? Who's going to pay for hospital? Testing the DNA and all of those things. It costs money. I was watching the news, especially when the case of Uwa, the other girl, the outcry. And, there were lots of people that were working in the back end that were not really seen. I actually wanted to educate myself. So I started to find this information and I found out that there isn't any official governmental setup to cater to rape victims. That at the point when it happened, like a few minutes after it happened, medically speaking, sperm can stay in a woman for up to 5 days. Yeah. You can use this to identify who the victim is. But we have a terrible database. Like, how do you want to even test? How do you want to match DNA to DNA? And this is how the government is failing us. However, what we can do as a society, as a community, is not to silence that person when it happens. Such that by the time the person is brought to book, we know there is evidences to prove because this person spoke up. There's evidences to prove.
Yes.
And as much as it breaks my heart, the Dakolo case, the reason it's even more difficult is because time has passed.
And yeah,
you know,
because time has passed.
Because time has passed. Some people are claiming that she's lying against the pastor and all of those things. It breaks my heart that we do not have a system that would then allow for proper documentation and collection of proofs, you know, that would then make everything clean cut and clear, and whoever is a perpetrator or a liar would face the consequences of their actions.
Because I really think, every time I think about this, I just think, why would you want to? Because when you say that somebody raped you, there's no way that the person is seen in that light anymore, like in a sane light. Every time you see that person, or every time someone else sees that person, is like, even if the person didn't do it, you've tarnished. So every time they see that person, like, so this guy raped.
Yes.
You know, I also think that people who lie that they've been raped should be sent to jail.
Yeah.
I don't know how that can be proven, but I don't know.
Consequences.
I don't know. They have to face the consequences one way or the other. Alright, so we've talked about rape, we've talked about the victim, we've talked about society, and you know, all that. We also it won't be fair for us to talk about this and not talk about how to help the victims. What do we think? In what way do we think these victims can, you know, get better? Like, you know, after such a horrific event or experience, that's the word, experience, how do you think we can help them? Do you think they should talk? I know that we're not professionals or, you know, authorities on this subject, but I think we can, like, shed a bit of light in case anybody's watching us or anybody that's watching us knows somebody who has gone through, you know, something like that.
Well, I would like to say they should talk about it to either their most trusted person or they should seek professional guidance. And I would also add that in Nigeria, people can be very religious and say, oh, as a Christian, you shouldn't seek a counselor's help.
You shouldn't talk to someone.
Yeah, or you should go to your pastor. Majority of the cases, the pastor is not trained. To handle such cases. Even the pastor can even start telling you how you did not dress well and stuff like this, or what were you doing at the guy's place at night. And that's not the question to ask a victim of rape. So I think people should reorientate themselves, because if you have a car accident, you don't go meet your pastor, you go to the hospital. So they should meet a professional counselor who can help them, guide them through, ask them questions, know what foundations, what things to do, how to help them come out of that, because it's like a hole, it's very deep, and if they keep diving, it can affect them for life.
Because I remember when I was like reading about this topic and trying to like enlighten myself, I realized that yes, this was like the first thing that came to my mind, like talk. I'm one person that when I talk to people a lot, and when I talk about whatever I'm going through, it kind of helps me. It doesn't solve the situation, but it makes me feel better, right? But I would also want to point that if you want to talk to someone, please be selective. Try to look for someone that you trust and that you indeed trust, not someone that wants to listen to you just to hear the gist, or someone that wants to listen to you to look down on you, but someone that will genuinely listen to what you have to say and be able to walk through that process with you. And if you don't have a trusted person, you can reach out to a professional, or if you don't know a professional, you can call the rape lines. Every country kind of have rape lines that you can call and that you'll be able to speak with a counselor.
One thing I would like to definitely emphasize is it's not your fault. It is not your fault, and you need to forgive yourself. Before the healing process can start, you need to first tell yourself, it is not my fault. I am the victim, and do not take responsibility for that action, for somebody else's action. So you didn't do anything wrong, because that is usually the block where you get to beat yourself up and you get to start to think, is there something else I could have done,
maybe
or
I should
done
have
better, or anything like that? No, it's not your fault, and you need to forgive yourself of it. Then all of the healing processes will then begin to start, and then you can start to go out of it. If you sometimes you might even share that experience with someone who is insensitive and they don't know how to talk or express yourself, or they say really insensitive things. It's a filter. Just create a filter. Create your own support system. So there are children who are raped and they cannot tell their mothers. But there should be someone around you that you should be able to talk to. So find those persons and tell them. And even if you tell a friend or somebody who you expected to show up for you and they don't, it's not on you.
It's not your fault.
It's not. So take strength from that. It would build you. Take strength from that. There would be hard days. There will be days where you feel worthless. But when those feelings come, you say out loud, I am worthy.
I'm worth it.
I am worth it. That this happened to me doesn't define me.
Who I am,
So, and I think that's also something.
And another thing I would like to say is that if someone comes to you and talks to you that they've been a victim of rape, in as much as you are there to listen, also try to work with them. What I mean is that sometimes we go through stuff and some of us we just like to talk about it once and we are fine. Some people have to talk about it every time, to maybe make their minds understand that, okay, I'm not worthless. It wasn't my fault. This thing that happened is not me, right? And you have to try to be there for them at their own pace. Don't try to force your time on them. And while they are talking to you, don't pressurize them to say, okay, maybe
I've gotten over it by now.
Okay, so I've been a rape victim, blah 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 blah, and you're like, oh my God, sorry. And then tomorrow, maybe they're still down. You're like, I think you should go and see a professional. And the person is like, I'm not ready. And tomorrow you're like, the next day you're like, actually I told you yesterday to go and say, no. You want to guide them the best way that you can, because it is a very sensitive time for them. So if they are not ready to see a professional immediately, like to talk to a professional, what I mean, like talk to a professional and bear their heart out, just give them time. And what you can do at your end is pray for them. Be there for them. Genuinely pray for them. Genuinely show that, because when somebody goes through rape, the person wants an assurance that I am still loved. I am still worthy. Do you get? It is not my fault, like you said. So what you can do, apart from listening to them, is genuinely showing them that you are an amazing person. This thing just happened because bad thing happened to us, right? It is not your fault. You are not
stained or tainted.
Tainted for it. And it is not, you're not going to take the reward for someone's action, someone's on self-control, lack of self-control, So guys, if you just try to be there, listen, and above all, pray for them. I'm a very firm believer of prayer. Pray for them, be there genuinely. Not that you just listen to them and be like, I heard what she said. No. Be there for them so that when they come out of it, they will have you to thank for it. So
and
okay.
Just last word so people can know. Do not stigmatize a rape victim. No. In any way, at any point.
They are still human. They are still amazing. They are still professionals. They are still women or men. They are still human beings. Let's not stigmatize them. Instead, let's try to understand the situation and help them to be better and fight this not guilty conscience, and fight the
Low
low self-esteem. Thank you. Low self-esteem that they are facing. Any last words, Dami?
If for someone who has had a lot of, I would say I've heard, I've read, I have experienced a little bit, and I don't want to claim authority, but I would say yes. In my life, I was younger, and yes, I have experienced something like it. But my support system was one that brought me through it. And I think one of the biggest was my mother. She, not once did she ever say, I told you so, or you didn't listen to me, or anything like that. I think one of the things that stayed with me when she found out was she just held me. And sometimes probably that's all you need at that time. She just held me. I'm thankful also for my aunts. I have some amazing people in my life who have built my mental strength such that I no longer see that I don't longer see me as a product of what happened to me, but rather I can share these things from a place of strength. So my last words would be build your support system. There are people around you that you know that they can stand up for you. Build those systems. Share with them things that are burdening you. If you suspect anything from anyone, if you see those red flags from your partner, even from a friend who is intended, things like this, share them with your support. Share them with your support system. Have someone that you can trust. Like Adewa said earlier, that you're going to a place, let there be someone who knows where you are.
Accountable.
Accountability to your friends, to people that you can trust, such that when things happen, they're the ones that would vouch for you. They're the ones that would show up and stand up and be the strength that you need. I really, really wish it wouldn't happen, but if it does, you have a support system that would help you through, and with prayer and with God, because I also believe from you that
the one that will heal you.
No matter how much we do, with God's help, it will make it easier.
Make it a lot easier.
So
thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming and sharing this with us. I had an amazing time. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with us. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and be sure to leave your comments in the comment section below. Have an amazing time. Until next time, Jesus loves you. Bye.